Hello everybody, it's Lisa Brown, Brown Eye Girls Crafting. I decided to go ahead and do this other Dutch wood shoe. And I was going to paint it an eggplant color so that I can put it in my bathroom because our bedroom is kind of a eggplant and kind of a tan. After I got this all on, I accidentally mixed up two different types of paint. Miss Lillian's is a no-wax chalk paint, and then I was using acrylic paint. And the no-wax chalk paint, I think, is what interfered with the color and the way it was going on this little shoe. This shoe did soak up this paint quite a bit, and it turned out more red than what I wanted. But I'd already started, so I went ahead and decided to use this as my base coat, and I was going to go ahead and put the blue over the top of it, and when it cracks, it would look like the shoe I made the other day for the event with Stephanie and Sarah. I went ahead and decided to go ahead and put this purple on it. This was where I made my mistake. I went ahead and put this coat of no-wax chalk paint on it. And this is good for wood, but you don't want to use different paints, which just don't do that if you're going to decide to do this crackle. I went ahead and dried this really good, and it just didn't look good. It was kind of peeling a little bit, and I just didn't like the way it looked. That's why I went ahead, so you can see how much it changed there in the toe of it. Just didn't want to do what I wanted to do. I decided to go ahead and put the crackle on it, and I was using a fluffy brush, and I think this is why it got so thick on it, and it was so hard to dry. You really want to use a thin coat, and it really didn't want to spread on this shoe. It almost acted like it was a kind of a velvet feeling to the shoe, and it just didn't want to go on. So I had to dry this, and it took forever for this to dry, and I still had a piece on the toe that just wasn't quite dry. Now I'm going to go ahead and put on that top coat. You can see there's a little place there. It just never would dry. I dried it and dried it and dried it, and it is dry, but it's just a little bit thicker than what it needs to be. Now I'm putting this top coat on, and then I realized I should have just put the blue on first. This is where when you're tired, you don't need to be doing anything because you're going to make a lot of mistakes. But it did turn out really pretty, and the cracks really did come out huge. I thought I could put some gold on it and bring out the cracks, but that didn't work. It just messed up the front of the shoe. It made it where it wouldn't crackle at all. And you're going to see that here in just a second. Even when I put the paint on it, it just wouldn't crackle. Go ahead and drying this really good. You want to make sure it's dry. It's going to feel kind of slick, kind of glassy-like, the touch of it. And you can tell when it's dry because it won't be sticky anymore. You can see I'm touching it, and there's that one little spot that just didn't dry, but it's dried and it's sealed over. And you really don't want that if you're going to do something with a shoe. If it's something you really wanted to do, you wouldn't want to do that. You can see a little bit of the crackle there. You can see where I tried to put this gold wax on it, and that just didn't work. So now I decided to go ahead and just use the Tiffany blue that I got from Afraid Not. And you can be watching. This is starting to crack as I am starting to paint it. It is like nothing I've ever seen. I didn't have any heat on it. I was trying to paint it fast, and I got a little bit too thick of a coat on one side because it was cracking faster than I could paint. And you're going to see this here in just a second. Even though this is sped up, it was cracking so fast with these big cracks. See right there? I mean, I just literally turned it over, and it's already cracking without any heat. I'm still trying to get the paint on the shoe. I was trying to smooth out the top there to see if maybe I could get it a little bit thinner on the top and it would crack, but it never would. But we're going to go ahead and put some rub-on transfers on this one just like we did the other one. And you can see this is just cracking. It didn't take us just a few minutes for this shoe to crack. And it is a little thick over there on the other side. And I sanded it when I got done, and it looks a little bit better. I decided since I have a really flat surface there with nothing on, I'd go ahead and put a rub-on transfer on. We're going to do that before we put our Howard wax on. And that's what kind of deepens it into that kind of a greenish teal. And because I had done so much to these shoes, this rub-ons kind of wanted to stick into the paint because there was so much paint on these. But it ended up working out pretty good. I had one little spot up there that just didn't want to come off. Then I finally got it off. And I am just rubbing. And I'm sorry I got out of the camera here. I didn't realize when I was editing it, I had pulled it in more than I should have. But you'll see the majority of it. So I'm just using my fingernail. And I had a little piece that just would not transfer on. And I finally got it to stick. There you go. Finally got to stick. And this is just a cute little yellow. I had yellow on the other shoe. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with these. I am going to give this another coat. I just had a matte spray that I sprayed on this when I got done. I really want to put a thicker, glossier coat on this. That way it will match the texture of the other one because it has that other type of a sealer over it that has kind of a hard shell, which comes with that type of two-part crackle. And I'm going over here on the other side, and I'm sorry I was just out of the camera when I was putting these rub-ons on. And I had this one take a big chunk out of the side over here. And so I decided to go ahead and put another flower over that. It just picked up that little crackle right there. And I mean, I'm just rubbing away, and it still wouldn't release from the paper. I just wanted to get paint. So I just went ahead and just pulled it up, and the rest of it peeled off really good. I did put a little bit of heat on it to see if that would help, and it did a little bit. Part of it stayed on and part of it stayed off. You can see right there where it is off. But we have a cute little flower we're going to put right over that. I was trying to use up all these pieces that I'd already cut out. That way I wasn't wasting them. This one does have a big crackle. It almost looks like the classic crackle on this one. But I was using the fine line crackle. But after doing so many coats of it and such a thick glue coat on it, I can see why it's got the big cracks. I decided to go ahead and fill up some more space on the front. So we put a little butterfly on the front. But before we do that, I went ahead and put this cute little purple flower over here on this side. I think purple and this teal goes together really good, just like the yellow goes good with it. And this one came off really easy. And I just made it blend in there to the back. I'm going to put a little butterfly here just to kind of cover up some of that space. And it went on perfectly, and it peeled right off. Now I'm just taking the Howard wax on a sponge, and I'm just going over it with a pretty heavy coat because these are some deep cracks. I wanted to make sure I had enough wax on them. And then I just took a dry cloth and I'm just wiping it down. And the funny thing is, it really didn't want to stick on that front, so I put a thick coat on the front to try and make it match the other sides. And I went ahead and did the paint on the edges there on the bottom of the shoe so it wasn't that bright blue. And now I'm just going over it with a cloth and just rubbing it really good, making sure that we don't have any excess of the glue on. This actually matched the other shoe perfectly in color. Here's a picture of the crackle on the side. And I went ahead and put some flowers in this one. And there's the other side. And I hope you guys all have a great day today. Make sure you guys share this out. Have a great day, everybody.